Lowe's knows that no matter your paint project, saving is at the top of your list. That's why when you shop today, you can buy one, get one free select Valspar and HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams one-coat coverage interior paints via rebate. Shop these deals in-store or online today at Lowe's. We help, you save. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. Offer valid 8/21 through 9/3.
We are on the eve of week 0 of college football, and who better to bring on to talk about college football than arguably the best magazine writer of all time, and that, of course, is Phil Steele. He will join us on this edition of the Stingray Show to talk about his journey of getting into the magazine writing and how his publication became the best one around the world. And then we will get into talking a little college football as well, as Phil Steele joins us on this edition of the Stingray Show as we are on the eve of week 0 of college football.
Hi, this is Tim Brando with a reminder. Those of you on Tide 100.9, look out, you're about to feel the buzz of Stingray.
This is Stephen Ray, a.k.a. Stingray, coming to you live from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
I'm Heath Hopkins. I'm here in DeSoto County, Mississippi, right outside of Memphis, Tennessee. You know, Mark, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you feel that responsibility to pay it forward and give some kid a chance coming up in the ranks, kind of like Tony did for you?
Why do you think I'm talking to Stingray tonight?
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
No, I mean, look, no.
Hey, Stingray, here's the deal. When you get involved with Texas, it's like getting married to a stripper. and let me explain this. It looks good, kind of sexy on the surface. Yeah, but then you get the baggage, you get the drama, you get all that eventually comes with it. And that's what you get with Texas, and that's what the Big 12 learned.
And Heath, any thoughts on our show moving forward?
Hey, to everyone in Tuscaloosa listening here on Tide 100.9. With the Stingray Show, if you don't like it, you better learn to love it, because it's the best show going today, baby. Woo!
And with that, we want to welcome you inside the Fried Bologna Friday, as Heath calls it, and as I call it, the Fun Friday edition of the Stingray Show. And Heath, I'm going to show you something. Every year, I always buy the best publication on college football, Phil Steele's Preview, and there is no better way to start off the college football season with week 0 being tomorrow than Phil Steele joining us on the Stingray Show this evening.
Yeah, some other magazines in years past might have prettier pictures or glossy pictures or whatever, but Phil has the best info. It is the highly most entertaining magazine. And here's the great thing. Phil's usually right.
Yes.
And that's what I enjoy about it. Phil, I don't know how he does it, but he is so accurate at predicting things, and it's always fun to read those.
And Heath, real quick, I said we are on the eve of college football because tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. over across the pond, as they say in Dublin, Ireland, Kansas State takes on Iowa State, and then tomorrow night as well, Stanford goes out to the island to take on Hawaii. So there are a ton of games tomorrow in week 0, and let's go on ahead and talk all about that with our guest this evening, Mr. Phil Steele. Phil, how are things with you on the eve of week 0 of college football?
Oh, it's awesome, guys. I tell you what, I work on nothing but college football year round. I don't follow any other sport, no basketball, no baseball. I don't even watch the NFL. But it's always a lot more fun when the games are actually being played. So I've been studying, getting ready for the season. I'm so happy it's finally here.
Phil, the first question I want to ask you is, you're a big sports guy. We've always enjoyed reading your stuff, but who was your first favorite player? Who was your first favorite team growing up?
Well, I grew up in Ohio. So back in the time when I was little, the Cleveland Browns, but also I would say college-wise, Ohio State, naturally being from Ohio. Back then, I was an Ohio State fan.
Okay.
So, Phil, if you would walk us through the process of starting out writing and then ultimately getting to the best magazine for college football, please.
Yeah. It was interesting. I was writing a football newsletter predicting games, and I would buy, there was like 30 magazines. Remember, there's 30 college magazines on the newsstand back then, and I would buy them all. And I had my notebook, and I would write down everything that every magazine had written about every team. And sometimes I couldn't even come up with a starting lineup for some teams. It was just a little bit of information 30 times over. So I started contacting, getting the rosters from the schools, keeping the stats on each player, putting my own personal notes on each player, getting the bios and having these complex pages. And finally, I think it was 1994, someone came to my office and said, Phil, you should turn that into a magazine. So I did. And what we have in the magazine, we go 4 deep at every single position. We've got every player on the team listed. We give you complete stats. But I put the first magazine out in 1995. It was black and white. It was a newsprint. And I only covered like 88 teams in that first edition. I believe the magazine was only 190 pages back then. But as it's grown, once somebody gets their hands on a copy, they've got to have it each year because it's got the most complete reference and by far the most information. And now, 31 years later, we're 2 full pages on every team. We give you the same amount of coverage on Troy that we do on Ohio State or Alabama, 2 full pages. And the magazine's up to 360 pages, full color. And the great thing is, it's even faster and quicker to use than the internet. If you click on a team site and you want to find out who the leading rusher was last year, you're 3-4 clicks away. Flip to the page of my magazine, close your eyes. You know exactly where to look to find out who last year's leading rusher was, who this year's left tackle is. It's all right there at your fingertips.
And that's what we love about the magazine.
Phil, looking at your predictions, how do you come up with this? Because you are a mad scientist. You are a mad genius, a stinking genius of how you predict this. And you made a believer out of me. I was a Mississippi State grad, graduated in 2001. We were coming off some great wins under Jackie Sherrill. A lot of people had them in the top 15. One publication had them in the top 10. And you pegged them to have a losing season, and you were right. You pegged that. You saw that downfall coming. So what's your mad formula of how you kind of predict things of how they're going to come out and come to be?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I've got 9 different sets of power ratings, which I play into the computer and play out for the season. They're all based on different things. So, one power rating may have a team at 9 and 3, and another one may have them at 5 and 6, and you have to determine which one you're going with. Then I have all my articles on, based on turnovers equals turnaround, close wins, close losses. I factor all that in. The schedule is huge, once you look at the schedule for the upcoming year. And, I remember there was a year where Washington State was coming off the Rose Bowl, and I had predicted them last in the Pac-12 the next year. And they had me on a radio show in Washington, and they sort of ambushed me. They're like, you know what? Here he is, taking your Rose Bowl team, Washington State. He picked them last. So let's open up the phone lines. And they just beat me up for like the whole half hour. And at the end of the season, Washington State actually finished last in the Pac-12. They didn't have me back on for a repeat show, though. I was a little disappointed.
So, Phil, I promise we're not going to do that, okay?
Caller 1.
No. So, Phil, over your time of covering all of the teams for all of the years, give us a couple of your fondest memories of covering teams out there and some of your favorite teams that you have covered.
Well, and here's the thing, every year they ask me, they say, Phil, do you have a favorite team? And I say, yes, I do. I clearly have a favorite team. And everybody's ears perk up and they say, who is it? And I'm like, whoever I picked higher than everybody else this year. So, as I mentioned, when I was young, I grew up as an Ohio State fan, but that's long gone. When I picked Penn State above Ohio State this year, when Penn State is playing Ohio State, I will fully be all Penn State and rooting completely. I really have no favorite when it comes to college football. It's whoever I pick higher in the course of the year. So, I think you have to look back at, let's say, in the 31 years of the magazine, maybe some surprise teams that I picked that my surprise teams are non-top 10 teams I think could play for the title. That's happened a couple of times, and those would probably be my favorite ones, though. But there's been just so many games and so many teams.
Right.
It's tough to come up with.
Guys, we are up against our first break of the evening, and when we come back, we are actually going to dive into the action tomorrow in week 0 and talk about Farmageddon over in Dublin, Ireland. That's on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Stingray Show. We will return with Phil Steele right after this. Residents of Tuscaloosa, are you guys upsizing, downsizing, looking for college housing, or even relocating for your job right here to Tuscaloosa? If that's the case, then you need to contact Celeste Hagler, owner and operator of First Class Real Estate South Home Group right here in Tuscaloosa. She can help you with the buying, selling, and investment needs throughout the state of Alabama. You can contact Celeste at 205-861-5698. Reach out to Celeste again at 205-861-5698 and schedule a consultation to discuss your real estate goals and to live where you love in the state of Alabama. It's dinner time, West Alabama, and if you are craving fried catfish with tartar sauce on a grilled bun, or maybe even a fried chicken tender with Swiss cheese, grilled onions, and an avocado spread on French bread, that sandwich is called the Jose, then you need to check out the Coker Market, which is located at the four-way intersection just off County Road 140 in Coker, Alabama. Their hours of operation is Wednesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. until 7 p.m. Go by and check out the Coker Market off of County Road 140 there in Coker, Alabama for community goods and wonderful barbecue. For over 100 years, the Bank of Moundville has been a name clients can trust. The Bank of Moundville is more than just a bank. They're your neighbors, your friends, and your community partners. Their unique approach to financial education has always centered around families. They believe that financially strong homes today lay the foundation for a brighter futures for tomorrow's generation. You can call them today at 205-371-2227. Once again, that is 371-2227 to schedule an appointment to build your financial security. The Bank of Moundville is a member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. You're traveling on Highway 69 north from Old Greensboro Road to Skyland Boulevard. It's an 8-minute drive. West on McFarland from Jack Warner Parkway to Coker, it's a 13-minute drive. We have construction continuing on University Boulevard. The road is closed from Campus Drive to Colonial Drive. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Lisa Baque.
This Labor Day at Lowe's, shop member-only doorbuster deals for a limited time. Save $50 on an Ego string trimmer, now $169. Plus, get 50% off select Holland pavers. Not a rewards member? Sign up for free today. But hurry, Labor Day doorbuster deals won't last long. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 9/1 while supplies last. Program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Never miss a moment of the action. Download the free Tide 100.9 app today.
Ireland, I am coming home. I can see rolling fields of green and fences made of stone. I am reaching out. Won't you take my hand? I'm coming home. Ireland.
Welcome back inside the Stingray Show. Our guest this evening is Phil Steele, the magazine writer who is coming up on 30 years of doing the best magazine out there for college football. And Phil, let's go on ahead and talk about one of the matchups tomorrow. It is Farmageddon. But before we get to that, have you ever had the opportunity to go to a football game since we've been doing them over in Dublin, Ireland? Ireland?
I have not. And, this might surprise you, but during the regular season, I do not go to college football games. I have a setup here where I have 12 TVs in front of me, and I'm watching 12 games all day long on Saturday. Now, being located where I am in Cleveland, you're probably talking about a 2-hour trip to get to any college as it is. And if I went to watch one game live, I'd be missing out on like 36 games. And I can't afford to do that because I feel I'm an expert on all 136 teams, not just one or two. So I don't even go to live games. I just watch them all. And then on Sundays during the NFL, when the NFL is going on, I'm watching replays of the college football games to get into the individual plays on a game, hear what the announcer said about it. But I go through the play-by-play of every game, and it's something where I just don't get out of the office very much. I'm too much watching football.
So, Phil, tomorrow morning, there at 11 a.m. local time, it will be Farmageddon between Kansas State and Iowa State over in Dublin, Ireland. Please break that game down for us for both teams.
It's a massive matchup in the Big 12. In fact, if you look at the Big 12 this year, I think there's 7 teams that have a legitimate shot at winning the title and getting to the conference championship game. And in no particular order, Baylor, Utah, Iowa State, Arizona State, Kansas State, Texas Tech, TCU, all 7 have that legitimate shot. So here, this could be a Big 12 title game elimination game. Whoever loses this one probably takes a big step back because you're not only 1 game back of the team, they beat you head-to-head, so you're basically 2 games back, and that's a tough hole to start the season in. Both teams have experienced quarterbacks. In fact, the Big 12 is known for experienced quarterbacks this year. Kansas State's got Avery Johnson back, and I think K-State fans had huge expectations for Avery Johnson. He had a really good year last year, but I think they have even higher expectations this year, and I think he will have that. And when you look at their running back, Dylan Edwards, I think he should be very strong. The offensive line looks good. Sam Heck, their center, NFL caliber dude. At tight end, they've got Garrett Oakley, another NFL caliber player, and the defense is strong. Iowa State, they have a veteran quarterback in Rocco Becht. And I thought last year, if you watched Iowa State, he got better each and every week. In fact, the second half of the year, just dynamic, 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. They've got Carson Hansen, Abu Sama, Dylan Lee, all back at running back. They're in good shape there. But it might be the best offensive line that Matt Campbell's put on the football field. He's got all 5 starters back, NFL prospects in Tyler Miller and Trevor Buer. Defensively, we saw Iowa State. I thought at one point last year they were the best team in the Big 12. Then their defense got all banged up. Well, they get a lot of those injured players back this year. And so their defense is going to be even stronger than last year. This is a tremendous matchup out of the box. I think it's a legitimate toss-up game, but I'm going to lean with Iowa State to come out on top. I think it's going to be a fantastic game to watch tomorrow.
Phil, I got to ask you about your schedule on Saturday mornings when the season's going. So do you wake up, do you watch College Game Day to kind of get ready for the day? And who are those first games that you're watching? Is it one of those ESPN games? Or are you looking for a conference? How's your schedule on a Saturday?
Yeah, I do not watch Game Day. Okay. I'm too much serious and about the actual games than to be worried about who's joking around with what. But once 12 o'clock noon kicks off, I have 12 TVs in front of me. So I'm watching, I don't care what conference they are, I'm watching their game across the board. Now, I only have volume on 2 of the 12 TVs, so I'm only listening to 2 of the games. But I can tell you drive by drive what happens in the other 10. I have a big stack of Diet Mountain Dew on my desk, and that keeps me going all day long on Saturday, all the way until that Hawaii game ends at 3 o'clock in the morning. But, the majority of the day I am just fixed at 12 TVs, and don't walk in my office and disturb me. I'm just trying to – and I'll give you a pet peeve. A pet peeve is all these uniform changes. You're watching a game and you're like, boy, that sure looks like this team, but it's not. And then it takes you a good half a quarter to get adjusted whenever they have a strange uniform on to which team that is actually on that TV. But usually you get caught up after like a half a quarter, I'd say. I figured it all out. But big pet peeve of mine.
Phil, has anyone ever come to you about doing like a reality show or having you on or, a video feed of any kind of your Saturday mornings there in your office with your 12 TVs?
No one's really. I think a couple times reporters maybe come out and sat with me game day, like from the Washington Post or something. But other than that, no. And I think, no, not really. It would be interesting. I'll tell you that much. If you two guys want to come up, you just let me know. Come on up.
Thank you, man. That's
done. Set. Bags are already packed.
Yeah. So, Phil, I love asking all of our guests this. For you, over the past 30 years, give us a couple of coaches that you have thoroughly enjoyed and looked forward to talking to every year.
Well, I got to be honest with you. I try to talk to all 136 coaches every year. Logistics won't let that happen. So I usually end up talking to 125, 126 coaches. And I will say out of that 126, I thoroughly enjoy talking to 120 of them greatly and do it every year. But I'm going to call out a couple. I don't want to highlight any favorites here. So I'm going to call out two coaches that I really appreciated talking to from the past. And one of them was Bill Snyder of Kansas State. I thought the job that Bill Snyder did at Kansas State was remarkable because when he took over that program, they were nothing. They were the worst team in college football. And later, Coach Snyder had them actually contending possibly to get into the national title game, for crying out loud. A remarkable job. And every time I talk to coaches about JUCOs and getting them to play well in the first year, Bill Snyder could do that. Nobody else really gets JUCOs to perform to their level of expectations. I had so much reverence and just so honored to talk to Coach Snyder every year that he was there at Kansas State. And then the other one would be a little more on the fun side. It was Mike Leach. And, Mike Leach is just, he would be on the phone walking on the beach, and the call would be 2.5 hours. And of the 2.5 hours, I'd get an hour and 15 minutes of actual football. And there would be just conversations about the surf and the sun and fans walking up to him. And it was just, anytime I was going to talk to Coach Leach, you knew you were on for a long phone call. But the good news is I did end up going over the team, but that was always one of my favorite calls of the year.
Phil, we have had so many people on the show tell us either Steve Spurrier stories or Mike Leach stories. Steven's got his Mike Leach cowbell right there. Please share with us, because we have a lot of Mike Leach stories on the show. Please share something random that Coach Leach talked to you about. Like, how did we get this conversation? And I don't know where it's going. What did you guys talk about?
Yeah, we pretty much, like I said, we'd be talking football. And then all of a sudden he would be talking about a surfer out there, or he would be talking about the pizza he was ordering, and then why you would get this particular pizza. And, it would be a 5-minute discussion on the attributes of this pizza versus that pizza. And you just sort of had to live into the conversation and wait for it to get back to the football area. But I found it extremely interesting every single year.
Earlier this year, Coach Spurrier shared on a podcast, he said, he's talking about, because everyone's talking about Arch Manning and how he's going to win the national title and he's going to win the Heisman Trophy. He goes, well, if Arch Manning was so good, why they let that Quinn Ewers guy play all the time last year? Of course, Coach Spurrier is known for needling people and having fun with it. Talk about this Texas team. Everybody's giving them tons of love. Is this a team that's going to win the national title? How do you think their season's going to play out?
I think it might play out close to what Ohio State did last year in this respect. First of all, for Arch Manning to live up to the hype, he'd have to have 60 touchdown passes and 2 interceptions this year. And I don't think that's going to happen. But I do think he will be one of the better quarterbacks in college football. My biggest concern with Texas might be the offensive line, where they have just one returning starter. But I do think they have potentially the best defense in college football, and they're an extremely talented team across the board. Now, when you look at their schedule this year, they have to play Ohio State on the road. They play Florida in the Swamp. They play Oklahoma and Dallas. And they, of course, play Georgia between the hedges. Georgia has not lost between the hedges since 2019. It's been 5 years since they've lost a home game, and Georgia sort of had Texas's number. So I believe you're going to see Texas lose a game or two this year during the regular season. But I've brought up the fact that they could be like Ohio State. Remember Ohio State last year? They lost 2 games in the regular season, didn't beat Michigan. Heck, they weren't even playing for the Big Ten title at the end of the year. But their talent came out in the playoffs, matched up on a weekly basis, and they were able to win the national title. I think that gives Texas a chance because by the time the playoffs roll around, Texas's offensive line will be a veteran one, and Arch Manning will now have a full year under his belt and have already played at sites like Ohio State, Oklahoma, Georgia, and, of course, the game in Dallas. And at that point, he'll have seen everything you could have thrown at him. So I believe they are a legitimate contender. I didn't pick them to win the title, though, this year, but I think they are a legitimate contender.
So, Phil, hold that thought. We are up against another break, and when we come back, we are going to be talking about the SEC and the Alabama Crimson Tide. That's on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Stingray Show. We will be right back with Phil Steele. Phil, how much longer do we have with you?
Let's do 10 minutes.
Okay, perfect.
Hey, you, looking to upgrade your ride? Alabama One has you covered with auto loan rates as low as 3.99 APR, up to $500 cash back, and the best part, no payments for 90 days. That's right. Buy or refinance and keep the cash in your pocket while you drive the ride you want. But hurry, this limited time offer ends October the 31st. You can apply today at alabamaone.org or by calling 1-800-225-0110. Once again, auto loan rates as low as 3.99 APR, up to $500 cash back, and no payments for 90 days. Remember, Alabama One together. South's Finest Meats is offering a great bundle this week through August the 26th. That is bagged leg quarters and pork spare ribs for $39.95. Let me read that again to you guys. 3-pack of pork spare ribs along with a 10-pound bag of bagged leg quarters for $39.95. Go by South's Finest Meats today at 3201 10th Avenue and make sure you take advantage of some of their great sales through August the 26th. It's dinner time, West Alabama, and if you are craving a fried chicken tender with Swiss cheese, grilled onions, and an avocado spread on French bread, that sandwich is called the Jose, then you need to check out the Coker Market, which is located at the four-way intersection just off County Road 140 in Coker, Alabama. Their hours of operation is Wednesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. until 7 p.m. Go by and check out the Coker Market off of County Road 140 there in Coker, Alabama, for community goods and wonderful barbecue.
Stay up to date with the Crimson Tide. Local high school sports and Bama in the pros right here on Tide 100.9.
For over 100 years, the Bank of Moundville has been a name clients can trust. The Bank of Moundville is more than just a bank. They're your neighbors, your friends, and your community partners. Their unique approach to financial education has always centered around families. They believe that financially strong homes today lay the foundation for a brighter futures for tomorrow's generation. You can call them today at 205-371-2227. Once again, that is 371-2227 to schedule an appointment to build your financial security. The Bank of Moundville is a member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Phil, going into this season, of course, we're an SEC show. There's one team, and I would not put my guesses and judgment and ratings against yours. I wouldn't dare do that. But there's one team that just jumps off the page that I think is going to be sneaky good, and that's the Missouri Tigers. I mean, they play all those games to start the season at home. They got a favorable schedule. I think they're going to be dominant running the ball with the quarterback and running back. I think they've got some key pieces in the transfer portal. I just think the schedule sets up better than any other team in the SEC. Am I wrong for thinking the Missouri Tigers could be, the sleeper team in the SEC this year?
I could see that happening, Heath, and it's hard to call them a sleeper coming off 2 10-win seasons, but you're right. Everybody's picking them lower, so they would indeed if they get another 10-win season this year. I think you hit it on the head schedule-wise. I mean, the last 2 years they've had the best schedule in the SEC, and last year they proved it by getting to that 10-win level. And when you look at them this year, they could very well start out the season 5-0 when they host Alabama, and boy, would they be fired up for that. Defensively, I think they're strong. Should have one of the better defenses in the SEC, but they do have 38 new players this year, 21 through the portal, and offensively, they lose their quarterback and Brady Cook. You remember last year, that game, Brady Cook went to the hospital and then came back in the second half and led them to victory. But I like Bo Prabula and Sam Horn. I think they're good quarterbacks. I think Brady Cook would have been a little bit better. I like the fact he only had 2 interceptions last year. Last year, they had a double-headed running back and Nate Knoll and Marcus Carroll. This year, they bring in Ahmed Hardy coming in from ULM. He's solid. Plus, they got the true freshman and Marquise Davis. I think they'll be close production-wise there. You look at the receiving core, they do lose 3 of their top 4 receivers. And maybe they didn't use Luther Burden as much as they should have, but I think the threat of him being on the field and not being on the field this year could be a difference. Offensive line has 2 starters back, but should be strong. So, I mean, they do get off to a 5-0 start. You look at the finish, though. They do have to play Arkansas on the road, Oklahoma on the road, Vanderbilt, and that's no longer a gimme game, Vanderbilt, Auburn on the road, and then hosting Alabama and Texas A&M. They could be an underdog in 5 of their last 7 games potentially, but yes, I could see them being a sleeper. So you might have something there, Heath.
Welcome back inside the Stingray Show. Our guest this evening is Phil Steele of the wonderful college football magazine, Phil Steele. And Phil, I do have to ask you, year number 2 under Kalen DeBoer here at Alabama. Give us your thoughts on Alabama in 2025, please.
Oh, I am really bullish on this year's Alabama team. And, you take a look at last year. You had your Nick Saban guys, you had your Kalen DeBoer guys, and that's tough when you're filling the shoes of a legend like that. Oh, yeah. And I don't know if they ever were a complete team and everybody bought in, but look what happened this year when the transfer portal opened up. Hardly anybody left. This is a Kalen DeBoer squad. They're ready to roll. And if you look at the talent that this team has, I mean, they're in my top 10 talent-wise at running back, wide receiver, offensive line, defensive line, linebacker, defensive back. They are an absolutely loaded team. The biggest question mark is, of course, quarterback, but I like Ty Simpson. I thought he did well at the Manning Passing Academy. He was my number 3 rated quarterback coming out of high school. It's not like this guy is a walk-on trying to take the job. He's 6'2", 210, and he's accurate and maybe a better fit for the offense than Jalen Milroe was last year. They bring in the offensive coordinator in Ryan Grubb. And remember, in Kalen DeBoer's second year at Washington, he took a less talented team than this all the way to the national title game. When you look at Alabama's schedule this year, I've got them an underdog in 1 game. I have them a slight underdog at Georgia, but I think they have an excellent chance of winning that. I believe Alabama is a legitimate, not only SEC title contender, but national title contender this year. And, keep in mind, Kalen DeBoer is 15-3 against top 25 teams. So I think he's one of the best head coaches out there and gets the most out of this year's squad.
So, Phil, let's talk about the other end of the spectrum. Alabama had a wonderful year last year. Mississippi State with Jeff Lebby did not, going 2-10. Blake Shapen returns to Starkville. How do you think Mississippi State is going to do in year number 2 under Jeff Lebby?
Yeah, I think it's, they got 43 transfers. It's a lot of new players. Now, Blake Shapen, the coaching staff very high on Blake Shapen. They feel that if they had him for the entire season last year. Maybe it would have been a little different, but I think that this is still another rebuilding year for Mississippi State. Part of it's due, I think they're a more talented team than last year, both offensively and defensively. Any second-year head coach that you talk to will say the same thing. Coach, how do you feel about the second year? Oh, so much better. We know the players know the systems, all that stuff. But look at Mississippi State's schedule, for crying out, and tell me where the wins are, because they are playing Texas A&M on the road, Florida on the road, Arkansas on the road, and Missouri on the road. They'll be an underdog in all four of those games. How about Georgia at home, Texas at home, Ole Miss at home, and then Tennessee at home? Those are four really tough home games. Right. You like to have your winnable games, at home. Let's say Arkansas at home, they'd be favored. Missouri at home, they might be favored. But with the way the schedule plays out, they might be an underdog in all 8 games in the SEC this year. Mm-hmm. I think they'll be improved. Could even top last year's 2-win total, probably pull an upset, but making a big jump in the SEC standings, I think will be tough. Maybe if it stabilizes a little more next year, a little more of a homegrown team, I think then Mississippi State's got a chance of moving up. But I think it's a rebuilding year once again.
Phil, looking at a team like Auburn this year, there's hot seat talk about Hugh Freeze. They're bringing in Jackson Arnold. They've also got this dynamic wide receiver, Singleton, they're bringing in from Georgia Tech. It looks like they're trying to really load up on offensive pieces. How do you see the Auburn Tigers this year?
Well, last year I put them on my most improved list, and they actually went from being minus 45 yards per game in SEC play all the way up to plus 62 yards per game in SEC play last year. That's a big-time improvement. It just didn't show up record-wise because of all the turnovers that they had. Now, Jackson Arnold didn't have a tremendous year last year at Oklahoma, but keep in mind, he had 0 returning starters on the offensive line. He was down his top 5 receivers at one point. A lot of quarterbacks are going to struggle in that situation. I think the situation he steps into at Auburn's much better. They've got my number 6 set of receivers in the country, number 12 offensive line. So Jackson Arnold's going to look like that top-ranked quarterback that he was coming out of high school. As you mentioned, receiving core, and defensively, they've got talent. Keldrick Falk up front, one of the best defensive linemen. They got Kayan Lee at cornerback, also a top-notch guy. There's winnable games on the schedule. I think they could be an underdog, probably in 5, maybe even 6 games this year. But they definitely are a lot in the winnable category, and some of those underdog ones may turn into pick'ems. Who knows? Maybe even favorite. It depends how the season plays out. But I think with better turnovers, I see this team definitely getting to a bowl game this year, and they could be sneaky in the fact that they may pull some big-time upsets. Keep in mind, every time they play Alabama and Jordan-Hare, that turns out to be quite a game at the end of the year. So I think it'll have a much better year this year. I don't know if it's going to be what Auburn fans want, though, necessarily.
So, Phil, look, man, I know that you're on a time crunch. Thank you for taking time to join us. Hopefully, we can catch up with you during the season. Any final words before we let you go about this season of college football?
Yeah, as the magazine, 360 pages. It's like getting 136 media guides rolled into one. But it's only available at 2 places, Books A Million and Barnes & Noble. And Books A Million is, of course, right there in Alabama. So just head over to your Books A Million if you want to get a copy. You pick it up. It's thick. It's heavy. You'll love it. And you use it all season long. Do you guys use your magazine all season long?
Yes.
Just checking. And then if Books A Million is sold out for some reason, go to philsteele.com. And at philsteele.com, you can get I'm going to charge you a shipping charge if you order the magazine through us, but we give you the digital magazine for free. And the digital magazine's updated all the way through September. Plus, we have a digital FCS magazine with 2 full pages on every FCS team and 4 pages on every NFL team in the NFL magazine. So check all that out at philsteele.com. But always great talking football, and especially here in the state of Alabama with you guys.
Thank you so much, Phil. We will definitely check that out and go enjoy covering the college football that we have tomorrow.
Sounds great, guys. Glad that football's back.
Yes.
Hey, Phil, as we walk out the door, 16 SEC teams. How many go to a bowl this year?
12, 13.
Wow.
13.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you, Phil.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Steele.
So, Heath, that is going to wrap up our interview there with Phil Steele. Really do want to thank him for joining us. However, Heath, before the season begins, the Stingray Show has one segment left. You and I will do a deep dive into the action tomorrow, including Farmageddon. That's on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Stingray Show. We will finish it up right after this.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Monday edition of The Game, Kayla DeBoer previews Florida State. Kane Womack previews the defensive side of the football. Ryan Grubb talks. We'll talk about it. We'll do it with Drew DeArmond. We'll talk about it with Martin Houston, all starting at 2 p.m. here on The Game on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest running sports program in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Has it always been your dream to build the pond of your dreams, but you don't know if property you own or are thinking about buying has a good location to build a pond on? You need to contact Honey Hole Fisheries right here in Tuscaloosa County, because Jeff Bagwell will help you decide if property you own or are thinking about buying has a good location to build a pond. You can contact Honey Hole Fisheries at 205-799-0192. Once again, that is 799-0192. And hey, Jeff Bagwell can also order top quality automatic fish and hunting feeders for all of your outdoor recreation. Contact Jeff Bagwell today, once again at 205-799-0192 to help you build the pond or lake of your dreams. With all of the recent tornado damage and storm activity here in West Alabama, Alpha Insurance and hometown agent Jeff Nee can help you personalize your insurance needs. Remember, the more you protect, the more you save. With a helpful customer service team here to serve you in Alabama and over in Mississippi, you can count on Alpha to provide an insurance plan that provides the protection you need, the convenience you expect, and the service that you deserve. For all your auto, home, life, and business insurance needs, call Alpha agent Jeff Nee at 205-758-2577. Once again, 758-2577, or drop by their office on McFarland Boulevard East, Suite 101 in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And remember, Alpha agent Jeff Nee, the more you protect, the more you save.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. If you're traveling on eastbound McFarland from Coker to Jack Warner Parkway, it's a 14-minute drive. North on Highway 69 from Old Greensboro Road to Skyland Boulevard, it's an 8-minute drive. Crews are doing work on University Boulevard. The road is closed between Campus Drive and Colonial Drive. Crews are also continuing work on McWright's Ferry Road. It's being extended down to Rice Mine Road. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Lisa Baque.
Everything from clothing to household items are getting more expensive each day. The world of fast fashion has complicated clothing production by outsourcing around the world to whoever can sew them the cheapest. And now you, the consumer, are paying the price with rising costs. American Giant is about keeping things simple and close to home. They aren't affected by tariffs because their products never leave the U.S. So when you buy from American Giant, you're taking a stand for hardworking people, local communities, and quality clothes. American Giant directly supports American manufacturers and ensures you aren't footing that tariff bill. Support American-made, tariff-free clothing with American Giant. Get 20% off your first order when you use promo code STAPLE20 at American-Giant.com. That's 20% off when you use code STAPLE20 at American-Giant.com.
Did you miss any episode on Tide 100.9? Don't worry. All of our shows can be found on Spotify and Apple Music and on demand on the Tide 100.9 app.
With all of the recent tornado damage and storm activity here in West Alabama, Alpha Insurance and hometown agent Jeff Nee can help you personalize your insurance needs. Remember, the more you protect, the more you save. With a helpful customer service team here to serve you in Alabama and over in Mississippi, you can count on Alpha to provide an insurance plan that provides the protection you need, the convenience you expect, and the service that you deserve. For all your your auto, home, life, and business insurance needs, call Alpha Agent Jeff Nee at 205-758-2577. Once again, 758-2577, or drop by their office on McFarland Boulevard East, Suite 101 in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And remember, Alpha Agent Jeff Nee, the more you protect, the more you save. Welcome back inside the Stingray Show on this Friday evening. Hope all is well with you and Heath. Let's briefly go over the schedule for tomorrow at 11 a.m. We've got Iowa State versus Kansas State over in Ireland. That game is in Dublin, as that one is a rivalry game called Farmageddon. Then at 5:30 local time, we've got Fresno State versus Kansas, which could be a squeaky good game. Then at 6 p.m., we've got Sam Houston State, who is now an FBS program, going to Western Kentucky. And finally, tomorrow evening at 6:30 on CBS, we've got Stanford from the ACC going to the island of Hawaii to take on the Warriors.
You know, we should ask Phil about the Warriors and what kind of season they're going to have. But starting with Farmageddon, I don't care who wins. I know I'm going to enjoy that game. I think we're all going to enjoy that game. College football is back. And the game's in Dublin. I'm a little disappointed in that. I know that's kind of a new thing, of playing in Dublin to start the season here at week 0. But Farmageddon, I mean, that's always kind of gritty. That's always, keep it on the ground. Let's get this game over in 2 hours. Kind of fun. But, still looking forward to it. I'm going to watch it. And I don't know, Steven. I really don't care who wins or loses these games tomorrow. I'm just ready for them. I am just ready for college football.
Did you see? Now, this, of course, could be AI-generated BS, or it could be true. But did you see where Michigan is trying to work out a scheduling with Western Michigan for next season?
I haven't seen that. I always like it when state schools play each other. I know right now the state of Arkansas, they're having a meltdown about that Arkansas State-Arkansas game. It's the first time they've ever played. I think that's just crazy. I think it's important for all the small business owners in your state and the tax revenue dollars that you can keep it, because people are going to be stopping for gas, stopping for snacks, dining in restaurants, and you keep all that money inside the state. I just think it's very poor business. I think it's extremely poor leadership when you don't do that. So, yes, do I think Troy should be playing Auburn and Alabama? Not every year, but yes, I do. I think that UAB should be playing Auburn and Alabama. Yeah. I think that they should be playing one of those schools. I think all the in-state schools should be playing each other some way, some form, some fashion in all sports every year. It's just good business for your state. It's good leadership, too.
Michigan wants to face Western Michigan in Germany next year.
Don't do that. Why would you do that?
I know.
To the folks in your state. Why would you do that to the folks in your state?
I know.
Just let that happen and take all that tax revenue money.
Right.
I don't get it.
I'm hoping that was AIBS, but I'm not sure.
I don't care to look it up.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, Heath, getting to Farmageddon, what are your thoughts on that game? I've got to lean a little bit more towards Kansas State because I know their players a bit more than what I do with Iowa State.
Well, I've always pulled for both of these programs just because they're underdogs. I love the underdog teams. It doesn't matter what conference. K-State was always kind of written off for years, even during the Bill Snyder days.
Yeah.
And that's why I fell in love with K-State was Bill Snyder, because I still think Bill Snyder is one of the, if not the greatest college football coach, because I don't think any other college football coach could go to Kansas State and have the success that Bill Snyder had there. I don't think there's anybody. I don't think you could have put Steve Spurrier in his prime there. I don't think you could put Lou Holtz, maybe Lou Holtz, but I doubt it, at K-State and let him have all of that success. I don't think Nick Saban could have done it at K-State. I just don't think it would have worked. It would have been a square peg in a round hole. I just don't think it would have worked. But Bill Snyder could coach anywhere and win, and he stayed at K-State because he loved it there. He absolutely loved it there in Manhattan, Kansas. And I've been to Manhattan, Kansas twice. Stephen, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
It's a small town. There is absolutely nothing in Manhattan, Kansas. And so with that, I deeply respect Bill Snyder and the job that he did. And if you disagree, well, you can look in the mirror and tell that guy that he's wrong.
Heath, think about this for just a second. Think about all of the coaches that were well known when we were coming up that are no longer in college football. Saban, Carroll, Urban Meyer, Jim Tressel, Jimbo Fisher, Coach O, Bob Stoops, Steve Spurrier, Lloyd Carr, Frank Beamer, Les Miles, Bill Snyder, Chris Peterson, and David Shaw, all gone from college football.
Well, you could disagree with this too, but it's a true statement. Coaching's a young man's game. There's hardly anybody anywhere in this game doing it 60 years old or older.
Right.
When you get to your 60s, you are considered a fossil in college football.
Yeah.
Now, have we seen guys like Joe Pa do it up until their 80s? Yes.
Yes.
Did we see Bobby Bowden do it for a long time? Absolutely. Did we see Nick Saban go into his 70s? We sure did. But those are extreme rarities. That's like 1 in over 100 where you see that. I mean, there's, 132 teams, 136 teams in college football? Phil Steele mentioned it. I already forgot. But how many of those coaches are over 60? It's rare. Coaching is a young man's game. I mean, Stephen, guys like Les Miles and Jackie Sherrill and Tommy Tuberville, and, we could go on and on and on about these guys. But I do know this, Jackie Sherrill, when he retired, like a day later or a week later or whatever it was, he turned 60. And Jackie Sherrill used to always talk about, coaching is a young man's game. You don't see anybody over 60 doing it. It's rare. And, I mean, that's just the thing. Mike Leach passed, I believe, at 60 or 61 years of age, and that's a terrible situation that happened, and we won't get into all that. But coaching is and always will be a young man's game for college football. That's always been the case. It always will be the case. It is a young man's game.
Heath, since we are right here on the cusp of college football, somebody put out earlier this week on Twitter the most overrated football teams in college football since 2000. Whoa. Give me your thought on who the biggest overrated team of college football is and has been since the year 2000, and then I will give you mine.
Man, you could go so many directions. I mean, Miami had a lot of teams. USC had a lot of teams that were hyped and did nothing. You've had some Florida State teams. You've had a trillion Texas teams that were hyped to do things and they didn't. I mean, you can go in so many directions with that. I mean, how many years did we hear Texas is back? I mean, let me rephrase that. How many decades did we hear Texas is back? And they weren't back. It took a long time for Michigan to get back to the top. We heard that. Ohio State, every year, they're just like Bama fans. They think the national title is their natural birthright. And it's not. It's not for any team. So, Stephen, you can pick and choose you could pick and choose 3 or 4 teams a year from the year 2000 up until last season. What's the most? They got that. First comes to mind is Texas, maybe Miami second, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
I'm going to go Penn State.
That's actually a decent guess.
We actually hear every single year, this is Penn State's year in the Big Ten. This is Penn State's year in the Big Ten. What have they done under James Franklin since he got there? I believe they've only got one conference outright championship, and I think that was back in the mid-2010s. So I'm going to go with Penn State. And the reason I'm also going to say Penn State is because a lot of people are hyping them this year to get to the national championship game. Not buying it. I'm not buying it until I see James Franklin win a big game on the field. I'm not putting any stock in the Nittany Lions. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. Another team that just popped in my mind is Oregon. We always heard big things out of Oregon. Oregon's going to win the Pac this year. Oregon's going to be in the BCS. Well, back during the days of the BCS. Right. No. So
yeah,
that's a fun question. Stephen, we need to have that conversation like during a summer show. That's actually a really good. You know what? We need to do our homework next summer. And we need to pick like 3 to 5 teams every year since 2000.
Yes.
That were just hyped and did absolutely nothing.
So, Heath, that is going to wrap up the Fried Bologna Friday, as you like to call it, right here on the Stingray Show. Hope you guys have thoroughly enjoyed it with Phil Steele discussing his career in college football and then some of the games and teams this year. When we come back on Monday, we are going to continue our SEC preview shows with 2 teams left. Monday will be the Longhorns of Texas, and then we will wrap it up on Tuesday with the Georgia Bulldogs, who were your SEC champions a year ago. So we got 2 preview shows left, the Longhorns and the Bulldogs, who very well could again play in Atlanta again for the SEC championship game in December. We will just have to find out and see.
Steven, I keep thinking about fried bologna. I had a fried bologna sandwich earlier today for lunch, man. It's Fried Bologna Friday. So what you going to do for dinner tonight? How are you going to prepare? Better yet, what you going to eat tomorrow watching the games?
I don't know what I'm going to eat tomorrow, but I know tonight I'm having some chicken wings.
Nothing wrong with that. I know one thing. I don't know what it is. French onion dip and Ruffles. I always want those.
Yeah.
I always want those watching college football. Don't know why. If I'm sitting at home watching games, I want some French onion dip and some Ruffle chips.
Heath, the season is upon us. Week 0 begins tomorrow. We made it to another college football season. Enjoy tomorrow, because tomorrow is an appetizer for an amazing weekend in week 1 that will begin next Thursday evening. Catch you on Monday evening at 6 p.m. for our continued preview shows with Texas on Monday and Georgia on Tuesday.
You know what? I didn't get to ask Phil Steele about Maction games on Wednesday nights. I wonder if he gets excited about Maction games as much as I do. We don't get those Maction games until like October. But can't wait, Steve. Can't wait.
South's finest.
Everything from clothing to household items are getting more expensive each day. American Giant is about keeping things simple and close to home. They aren't affected by tariffs because their products never leave the U.S. Support American-made tariff-free clothing with American Giant with American Giant. Get 20% off your first order when you use promo code STAPLE20 at American-Giant.com. That's 20% off when you use code STAPLE20 at American-Giant.com.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Labor Day sale and get 35% off paints and stains August 22nd through September 4th. With prices starting at $31.84, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your interior or exterior, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store or shop the sale online. Delivery available on qualifying orders. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.